When you start your business, no one ever prepares you for what's in store. So, finding someone else who just gets it is sometimes the thing that can keep you pushing toward that big business goal.
We're turning our Zoom coffee chats into a weekly, unfiltered podcast for online business owners. They were so good, we always wanted to record them and repurpose them for content, anyways. And that's on being a social media manager.
I'm Jessica Sheehy.
And I'm Madeleine Digan, and this is
#managed. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of #managed. Hey Madeleine, how's it going? How was your weekend?
Hello, everybody. It was good. I feel like the past couple of weeks I have had nothing to report. And it's kind of same. We just had another relaxing weekend. I had a best self Saturday, and yeah, what about you? Anything exciting happen on your weekend?
Yeah, mine was, I would say, same. Really relaxing, nothing too crazy. We finally made it up onto our apartment building's rooftop pool for the first time.
Mm,
We've been away for a couple weeks, so we missed when it opened and all of that. And it was actually really nice to be able to like sit outside and the weather was warm, UV was good, and just read and just soak up the sun rays and honestly just kind of really do nothing after that. So, yeah, it's been a pretty relaxing weekend, but I have a really busy weekend ahead. So I feel like it's
mm,
just in anticipation of that. So I'll have more eventful things to report on next week's meeting on when we're
yeah.
recapping on the show.
Okay, speaking of reading, should we get into this week's report?
Yes, let's do. Do you want to kick off with yours?
Yes. Okay, so I guess so again, didn't have that exciting of a weekend, but just yesterday I went to this meet and greet at a cute little bookstore here in Charleston and met the author of the book that I'm reading now, and it's called Husbands and Lovers. I'm still working on the philosophy book, but last night when I got home, I read one or yeah, like I honestly I've only read one page, but I'm already like excited to devour this book this weekend. And it was I wish you would have been here, Jessica, because this was an event I 100% wanted you at with me
Mhm.
because it was so cool to hear like her writing process and just you would have been geeking out with me too. I took you to the bookstore, like it was at
I was
Buxton.
gonna say, is that the one that we went to with Harmony?
Yes.
It looks so
Yes.
familiar.
Yes. So, like, it was super small, and I felt as if I was living in The Summer I Turned Pretty because, like, seriously, it was like I'm on the East Coast, like, she's going on her book tour, and so she's, like, originally and it's by Beatrix Williams. So, Beatrix, she's and also has a cool story. She's like, "I grew up in Seattle. Her dad was British, her mom was from California." Um and her husband's from the East Coast, and just it was again, like, I was geeking out. It like, I felt I was in a movie or a TV show because I'm like, "I'm sitting here listening to a New York Times bestseller in this small, cute little bookstore in Charleston, like, what is my life?"
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes, I will report back, but I have a feeling this book is going to consume my weekend as well as soaking up some UV rays.
Mhm.
And then what I'm eating is watermelon. Like, earlier on our call,
Mm.
like, I don't know if you saw it, like, I muted myself, but, like, I just like, it's watermelon season, and just I love watermelon.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, then I'm playing this I had a hard time with this one this week, surprisingly. Um but I started it this weekend, actually, so here I am saying I had a boring weekend, but now it's all coming back to me.
Mhm.
But I watched this documentary because 'cause I've been in a documentary era, which
Yeah.
is, like, it's funny because like, I don't normally, but for whatever reason, we're just in this era, and I it's called What Happened, Brittany Murphy. And, like, I don't know, like, how much you know about Brittany Murphy, but she seriously, like, her role in Uptown Girl, like, I love Brittany Murphy. Like, I thought she was one of the best actresses of our time. Um, and because she died in, like, 2009, I think, and I vaguely remember, like, seeing that on the news, but, like, not, like, investing in it, where it's just like it was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, dang, another young actress died, like, what a shame."
Yeah.
So anyways, very interesting. I'm convinced her now deceased husband was doing some mind tricks on her kinda
Mhm.
thing,
Yeah.
but that's that. And then I'm obsessing over my Aura ring, which I know Harmony has as well, and, like, honestly, we need to write a blog post about it,
Mhm.
but it is so I got it for my birthday, and now, you guys, like, seriously, the amount of data that this thing collects is unreal. So, like, it will track your sleep, which, yes, like the Apple Watch does, or it does, but I just never felt like it was accurate. Also, I
Mhm.
never wore my Apple Watch to bed because it's like
Yeah.
like you needed to charge it, and just it was annoying. But like this also tracks your cycles. So like but like that was the main reason why I wanted to get it, was like the cycle syncing and tracking that stuff. So cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, so, like, now that I've had it for over a month now, like, it's just cool to see all the data it's collecting. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
stay tuned for more of that. And then, okay, I'm recommending. So, you're gonna Jess, oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm wearing the necklace right now, but I am recommending everybody goes and gets waterproof jewelry. More specifically, it's called Live Bella Vita. And I don't know if you remember, but like we were talking about waterproof jewelry like a few episodes ago, like maybe last month, and like
Mhm.
we didn't have any brands where it's like, again, if anybody
Yeah.
else had who's listening, if you guys have a brand you want to recommend as well, I'd love to hear it. But okay, see, my weekend is coming back to me. On Sunday, I went downtown because the second Sunday of every month in Charleston from noon until 5, they'll shut down King Street and a bunch of vendors will come out. So it's kind of like the farmer's market, but not, because there's not any
Mhm.
produce or anything. It's more
Okay.
so for like artists and whatever. But this necklace that I got, and I also got some earrings, but it's waterproof, tarnish free, and hypoallergenic gold jewelry. So shameless shout out. Maybe we could get a sponsorship. Maybe maybe some other things. Wouldn't
Mhm.
be mad about it. Um okay, and then lastly, treating myself. I desperately need a facial, or just like I haven't treated
Yeah.
myself to a facial in a while. So I
Yeah.
might do that this weekend. I haven't decided. And then I've been trying to have strong willpower and not go on to Nordstrom's anniversary sale, but I have glanced. There are some things in the cart. It's whether or not I hit the if I hit the purchase, like if I follow through with it. So,
Mhm.
TBD.
Yeah. Yeah.
TBD. And
Ooh,
that
okay.
is Madeline's report.
I love that. I
Now,
feel like we need to, like, bring in some more, like, sound effects, jingles,
mhm.
things like that. So we're working on it over here. So I
Yes.
feel like that would be so fun to, like, recap, like, maybe we do it almost like
100%.
news story kind of, like, weekly reporting what we're doing. So, okay, I'll go into mine. So first up, reading. I am almost done with The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. I think I maybe did one page
Mm,
when we recorded last week. Absolutely love it. So, so good. I am so close to the twist to come. If you read a Frida McFadden novel, then you know.
mhm.
That's so close. And so far, really love it. I know it's going to end really great, so I'm excited to wrap that up. I spent pretty much all day Sunday reading the whole book from I was probably on like page 3 of the book when I brought it to my report last week. Um So excited to report yet another Frida McFadden novel that we love. So I know she'll keep pumping out more and we'll keep reading them and we'll always recommend them. Um, Next up for eating, this one is super random, but I am currently eating, and honestly, this could be a cross into like obsessing over, but Mike's hot honey. If you guys know me, I love spicy things. I like a spicy margarita. I like spicy food. Growing up in my family, there's a few members of my family who it's always a joke that we like put hot sauce or sriracha on anything. I fall into that category. And I just love spice. So Mike's Hot Honey, in my opinion, is not super spicy. I know to some people it is. There's like some that are a little bit they've like some honeys that are hotter than others in their line. You can get it pretty much at most grocery stores. I think it's so good. I like it for, like, honestly, I put it on anything. Like, the other day, I made just a really simple, like, turkey club sandwich. I put hot honey on it because I think in my head, "Okay, you go to a deli, you get turkey that's, like, a maple honey flavor, like, let me go hot honey." I'm just innovating over here. But I think because I originally got it because I always like a honey, like, on our charcuterie board,
Mhm.
and so the hot honey was the perfect, like, segue to that. But now I feel like when I go to restaurants, I see, like, hot honey is, like, taking over. It's like the new Nashville hot sauce, which is a hot sauce. Like, I don't know. I think hot honey is taking over. So I'm, first to report that here on my weekly report. But I love it. I think it's so good. Um, Next up on playing, I might have mentioned this maybe in 2 episodes ago, so I've slowly been binging this. I don't think it's something you can sit down and just binge watch the whole thing. But playing, I'm putting Owning Manhattan on that because I have just been loving those episodes. Even though I want more real estate out of it, it's fine. I'll deal with a little bit of drama here and there. Um, but I just really like it. I think it's fun from the perspective of, the I mean, it's like $20 million apartment. So we're like, okay, the jump from, what I'm looking for for like my next home even to that is so big. But we're manifesting over here. And so I love that. Um so I've been playing that. I think it's a really fun kind of New York version of Selling Sunset. Now, on obsessing over, I feel like mine is kind of similar to one that you recommended on your report, Madeline, but I am obsessed with permanent jewelry.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yes. Yes, yes,
yes,
yes.
yes. If
Okay.
you're watching, Madeline and I both are like flaunting our like permanent bracelets, but I am obsessed with permanent jewelry to the point where I need to really like fine tune my like stack. I have one bracelet that I wear that I just want it to be get zapped on me because I am like I hate the little dangle from it. Like just zap it on me at this point. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I just really feel like I need more permanent jewelry in my life. So
I just got an anklet and I'm
oh, I
obsessed.
need
I'm
an anklet.
obsessed. Yes, because it's
Yeah.
just so cute, and I have a ring
Yeah.
as well, and, like,
I need a
the r
ring. Oh my gosh.
the r
Okay. Yes.
the ring, though, like, it's funny because people you can easily slide it on and off, I just
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
but, like so it's like, yes, it's permanent, but, like,
Yeah.
obviously the bracelets you cannot take off unless you cut it off, and same with the
The anklet.
anklet, but
Yeah.
yes. Ooh, that's a
Okay.
good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, I'm obsessed, I will be getting more, I will report back, but I love permanent jewelry, so
Mhm.
I need more. Next up on recommending, this is super, super random, but I don't know why, I am just in a phase, and maybe I don't even know, this is gonna kinda tie also into, like, our episode a little bit as well, where obviously you can read and see that we're gonna talk about all things sticky marketing. But I'm recommending Waterboy as an electrolyte for your water
Mhm.
because I don't know if it's just because it's so hot outside. I cannot drink water to save my life. So I am obviously not trying to like overconsume on my electrolytes by any means, But I like Waterboy, like, in comparison to, like, a Liquid IV or an Element. They're all so similar, they all have very similar, like, benefits and ingredients and minerals and all of that. I love Waterboy though, because I think the flavors to me are a little bit better, and I just love their marketing. Shout
Mhm.
out to Jenna Palick, who, if you guys don't know Jenna from Fun on Weekdays, like, go follow her immediately on everything, but on TikTok more importantly. But a couple months ago, she took over Waterboy's social and obviously is, dating one of the co-founders, but got hired on the social team, and I think she's crushing it. I don't think we've talked about her
Nope, but
yeah.
I completely like, seriously, the second and it's funny because I feel like on our planning meeting or one of our calls last week, I feel like you were even said you were drinking electrolytes. I don't think
Mhm,
you mentioned it was Water Boy, but funny enough, later that week, I actually ended up getting some Water Boy because I was like,
mhm,
"She's right." I go through phases of being good about drinking my water, but, like, then not, and, like, it is so hot and humid here that I'm like, "I'm for sure dehydrated," where
yes,
I was like, "Jess's? Yes, I
mhm,
need
yes,
electrolytes." So,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, I'm like, I can just lately, I felt like I need way more hydration than I'm getting, so Waterboy to the rescue. Absolutely love
Mhm,
it. And then for my last category for treating, I this is something that I've done for so, so long, but it's honestly become such a part of my routine, and I know that I'm super privileged with my job to be able to do this, but every week I go and I get a blowout. The reason I do it
mhm.
weekly is because I'm so behind on my blowout credits, so I'm honestly catching up before they expire, and I lose them forever. But other than that, I would go, like, every other week because I think at my membership, I think gets 2 a month. So, I go to BLO, Blow Dry Bar.
I was just gonna
Yep.
ask you.
Yep, so
Be
BLO is the name and then obviously Blow Dry Bar, but I like Blow because I feel like, and I know we've talked about this on the podcast in the past, I feel like if I go from one blow location to another, and I go quite frequently, like in Tampa, like here, like in Connecticut and New York as well. I feel like I can consistently get a good style. Whereas I feel like with Dry Bar in the past, I cannot. So that is why when I was choosing
Mhm,
membership, I
mhm.
chose Blow. So anyway, I love my hour that I go, whether it's a week or like 2 times a month, where I can just sit there. I have so much hair, it's way too thick, it's just so much for me to do it, so I realize it's, a privilege to pay for that. But I like to go in the middle of my workday. I feel like it's like the best break. I feel like some people love a good coffee shop break or a lunch break. I like a blowout break because I do not go on my phone. I literally will sit there and I will just chat with whoever's doing my hair because one,
Mhm,
you you
mhm.
love to have chats with, whoever is doing your hair, whether it's a
Yep.
blowout, a haircut, color, whatever. And so I like that and it gets me off my phone. I notifications on silenced and I am just unbothered for an hour in that time. So that's how I'm treating myself. That's my week
That's
report.
I swear to you all, like, Jessica and I, we were laughing about this just before we hit record. Like, we are always on the same wavelength. We don't even talk. Like, we talk, like, throughout
Mhm.
our weeks and stuff. But
Yeah.
I swear, Monday mornings, the first thing, like, I'll chat or something, I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, why was I also thinking about this?" But,
Mhm.
okay, that's good to know because, again, why we're same page is because I used to have a blow what am I saying? Dry bar membership,
Mhm.
and just like Jessica said,
Mhm.
like, I would be opposite though, like, I would like to go and, like, answer emails, like, I would take my laptop, but I wouldn't really necessarily be working on my phone, but
Yeah.
again, going as a break, during my day, like, where again, we are privileged, and that is the beauty of working for yourself because you can, like, it's like you can I feel like when I was working in corporate, like, and if Kimberly Watson, my Adidas boss, were listening to this right now, like, again, it was awesome to have, like, a cool boss, but, like, again, when you're in that corporate, like, you kind of feel like you have to lie, where it's like you get an
Mhm.
hour, like, 30-minute or hour-long break, and it's like, who actually, like, what can you do? Like, because you have to take into
Mhm.
consideration, like, the travel time
Right.
and, like, all this stuff where it's like people wanted to run a quick errand. No, I would go and probably get a facial or some
Mhm.
beauty treatment because, like, that's
Yeah.
just so buzzing blonde Madeline coded, like, to a T. But
Mhm.
I just looked it up. I didn't think we had any here down in Charleston, but I just Googled it and we have one in Mount Pleasant. So now maybe
Mhm.
that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I feel like they do such a good job. Like, it's very consistent with, like, getting I don't know, maybe it's just a difference in, like, the stylist or, like, anything, like, just maybe different about working, like, company culture or anything like that. I
Mm.
don't know, it's a more pleasant experience than it's what Dry Bar used to be, like, years and years ago, when we
You
all loved it.
sold,
Yep,
sold, sold, absolutely sold because that has been my struggle.
yep.
Because like, yep, okay. So do you get champagne if you want? Do they do that?
They don't.
Okay,
No.
that's fine. It's okay. We don't
Yeah.
we don't need to we don't need to be
Maybe
drinking
the
on the job.
Maybe the Mount Pleasant one does. I feel like maybe that's a little bit nicer of, like, an area than the ones I go to. Maybe, but yeah, yeah, typically no, but yeah, I think other than that, like, a really good experience. So, yeah, definitely recommend if you want to, like, treat yourself to that. And that's one thing I know we've talked, and obviously this is your, like, zone of genius as well, but and maybe this is just the experience of, like, salons that I'm nearby, but why don't salons have similar options to, like, a Dry Bar, kind of like package and experience and things like that? I've just never been able to find that, and so I feel like if you're listening and maybe you have experienced that, that would be awesome. Or if you even have a salon, I just feel like that's such, like, a market
Ugh,
to, like, jump into. I don't know, I just feel like it would just be
no.
so it would I would rather go support the local salon, small business owner, than, like, a national chain. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that would be a no-brainer to me, and so many other
Harmon
people.
Harmony, I'm speaking to you. We need to clip this because literally every single salon owner who follows me needs to be listening to this because Jessica's here's your ideal and what is missing. Because yes, this is what I constantly have to tell clients. And that's what again where I low key we joke that I go home to Indiana to get my hair done, but there's a
Mhm.
reason. There is a reason because it's the experience. But funny enough, Kimber too has started to offer. She has her own branch, and I actually think it's called Blow, but BLOW, where it's like kind of like underneath tone, and like you can
Okay.
book that service. And here's the other thing: you would be surprised. A lot of local salons do offer it, but they never promote it. They
Mhm.
never promote it because they're not
Yeah.
committed to it. They're just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I should. And so,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing light to this.
Happy to do my part. And I know I'm not a salon owner, so I know there's probably different logistics and things to go with it, but when I think of as a consumer for years and years, I have loved Dry Bar and now I've loved Glow
Mhm.
for years and years. Like, there are so many consumers that I know who also love this service as well, and that they would come do it weekly. Like, especially because where I'm at right now in my town that I currently live in, I have to drive 25-30 minutes. And I know for some people that's a typical, like, commute to maybe their salon, but I have to drive that far to go, and I have to drive on an interstate, which with a I have been late to many appointments, which I am always so sorry about, but it has happened even if I give myself double the amount of time. Which again leads to Madeline's point of you can't go do a quick hour, like, thing. It's going to turn into more time throughout your day. But I do live in an area where my actual salon is a 5-minute walk. And if I could walk 5 minutes, I guarantee, Madeline, I might not ever wash my hair again. Like, I would
No,
not.
because it's girl math. Because on and
Yes.
like I've explained this to Brennan where I'm like, seriously, where it's like it relaxes you. Like, I think it's good for
Mhm,
the soul as well because, like, we were little girls, we always wanted people to play with our hairs and, like, braid our
mhm,
hair,
mhm,
and that's why I think dry bar, like, where it's, like, it was groundbreaking because it, like, she just
mhm,
saw, like, I feel like women were vocalizing that where it'd be so nice if I didn't have to wash my hair, like, if I could do something while, like, getting my hair done or, just have an hour to myself, like the moms out there,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
ugh, yes,
I have to
just
add I have to add because we talked about it earlier, so it's fresh in my mind. And we'll talk about it again as we enter the topic as well. But one of my all-time favorite shows is New Girl. If you guys
mhm,
know,
mhm.
I have a puppy named Winston, named after a character in New Girl. I might add. So many people are like, "Where did that name come from?" But anyway, there is an episode where Jess and Cece go and get blowouts, and they're just like, I mean, they're feeling themselves. They're at the bar. They're like, we feel so great. We feel awesome. Like, that is the point that I think so many people who don't experience a blowout, like, don't really like live and know that. But there's also the other line from another character, Nick, which is so funny to me. And I think about this every time I'm like getting my hair done. It's where he says a salon creates the problem. So they wash your hair, right? It's wet. And then they have to fix the problem with the blowout. And I'm like, yes, but it's also fixing the bigger problem. And he's a guy and it's his character and he didn't know this. But the bigger problem of it takes so much longer for me to do my own hair, to wash it and to dry it. I will take 3 times the amount of time to do it myself, and I still will not love it because I I'm not in that perspective of the stylist doing my own hair. So,
Also, I feel like we both have talked about this. We both have thick hair where, like, even today where it's like, "Oh my gosh," like, I just, like, I'm done. I'm done with it where
mhm,
I'm like, "It's dry enough. It's dry
right.
enough," because
Yep.
I don't have time to fully dry it because I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, my
Mhm.
arm hurts."
Yes. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I think it's something that yeah, I would love to see more salons in 2024 and 2025
Mhm.
offer their own blowout service. It will sell out, and if it doesn't, Madeline and I will become your consultants and we will sell it out for you because maybe it's just being mismarketed. There is such an opportunity for that. So, anyway, long story short, that's how
Mhm.
I'm treating myself. I will continue to treat myself, but I wanted to bring light to that today. So,
No, I'm glad you did because here I was actually thinking you went to dry bar, but you don't.
mm,
So,
nope, I had to
noted.
set the record straight.
Okay, now shall we get into our water cooler segment of the week?
Ooh,
This
yes.
this week they say, "Hi guys, I have a client who is a photographer. She's not wanting full social media management, but she said she wants my help with marketing strategies. Ways to streamline answering inquiries. Hashtag help." I love this. And they literally wrote out hashtag help, and I'm and ideas for what to say to potential clients without being too sales pitchy. What would you all charge for something like this, and how would you go about it? Thanks, guys.
Ooh,
This
that's good.
is, mm-hmm. Because this is always, I know that as social media manager, like I know both Jessica and I have had clients like these. Like, I feel like, again, especially in the beginning stages of starting our businesses where, like, maybe we didn't have good boundaries where, again, I feel like I've expressed on the podcast where it's like like, I just want to do it all, like, where it's like,
Mhm,
yes, it's social media, but then it's like, ooh, but I know I could help you with your email. Ooh, I know I could help you with your website. Ooh,
mhm,
but the whole answering inquiries, that to me, okay, so they asked what I would charge.
mhm.
First, I think you need to ask yourself, is this something you actually want to do? Like, do you actually want to be basically their virtual assistant? Because that to me is essentially what they like. It's always funny to me because the like so many businesses out there, especially small businesses out there, think they want a social media manager because, yes, they know they need help with their organic social media. But then it's like the whole unpaid intern, or like that, like the bad rap of the unpaid intern where it's like, oh, can you do this as well? And then, oh, and can you do that too? Because I know like social media obviously can't take that much time, right? So first, I think you need to ask yourself, is this a service you want to actually be offering? Like, answer again, do you want to be a virtual assistant? I
Yeah.
think if the answer is yes, then I personally would start to kind of network and reach out to other virtual assistants and kind of like, and maybe not even reach out. You can do like a quick Google search, do some research on Instagram,
Mhm.
and go to their websites to try and see what they're charging. First and foremost, too, to any social media manager, anybody listening, really in a small business, online small business, that would be the first way with your pricing, like looking at people in your area, because
Mhm.
it's funny enough, it's kind of similar to a salon, or same with photographers. I guarantee you, majority of these businesses, you're kind of looking at other people's pricing to kind of again scale you, where it's like, okay, do you have more experience? So like if you're looking at somebody's portfolio, website, whatever, and you're like, ooh, like I think, not that it's necessarily better, but again, you have more experience. Like that's when you can, I think, be like, "Ooh, I'm going to charge more than this person." Or if you're like fresh out of college, still building your portfolio, that's a good like baseline to see where it's like, "Okay, I'm not at that level yet. I aspire to be at that level.
Mhm.
I'm going to kind of charge myself lower," because you will, like again, by pricing yourself a little bit lower, that's not to say you aren't talented. It's just like again, you're getting started. So like obviously you can't charge what the person who's been in this industry for 15 years, like
Mhm. Yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
But um okay, let me make sure. So charge something that so that is, yeah, so that is how I would charge for something like that and how I would go about it. What
Yeah.
about, do you have anything else you would add?
Yeah, no, I think Madeline, you brought up such a good point around asking yourself internally, do I even want to do this? I think it's a question that's so different than can I do this? You probably can.
Mhm.
You probably do all of these things for your business. Maybe, maybe you've done it at one point for your business or other clients. And I think it's just, do you want to do this? I think from that point, doing that, finding, you know, comparable rates for your area and for VAs is a really good way to let you know where you need to price yourself. I think too, always knowing your hourly rate, I think is so important. Whether you're charging it by the hourly rate, which a lot of VAs will do an hourly rate, they might say for example, just for ease of mental math here, like your hourly rate is $25. But say, for example, with a $25, you're probably not going to only want to work with a client for 3 hours per month.
Mhm.
That's only bringing home $75 for that client. Maybe it's something a little bit differently depending on how your schedule is. Maybe you do 10 hours per week. Maybe it's 5 hours per week, whatever that looks like. But that is packaged up into a package rate that you can charge your client. And by outlining in your contract, here's my hourly rate, we will agree upon, let's say 20 hours per month. It's going to be at this price. If any work goes outside of that hourly rate, what's that process going to look like? Do you push it off to next month? Do you charge your client on top of that? What does that really entail? And then that can help you figure out the logistics of pricing and invoicing and all of that, because I think that really goes hand in hand to not only getting the client to say yes to that rate that you want to charge them, but in a way that you want to deliver and offer that service. So that's super important. I think also as well, if you, and I think sometimes, and this might be more so in like a marketer, like a marketing strategist role versus social media manager, but say you ask yourself, do I want to do these things? And the answer is no, I don't actually want to do these things for my client. But if you want to strategize with them and offer your knowledge, your expertise in exchange for teaching them how to do it, I think that
Mm.
gives you another opportunity to switch it into a more strategy consulting way, which again, I think that kind of leads back to the hourly rate. I don't know why, but I'll say for this, for an hourly rate for consulting, I always think about my hourly rate times three. That's how I determine my consulting rate. I think maybe at times I'll go a little higher, maybe I'll go a little lower. Sometimes I work with clients where I'll do like a weekly consult with them or a monthly, or maybe I sign like a 6-month contract for I'll consult with you X amount of times. But I think it's a good way to put the value on what you bring to the table versus your time, right? Because a lot of times consulting might be a 60-minute Zoom session. And they look at, okay, $25 I can spend for 60 minutes. I can pick Jessica's brain and I can get all of the things. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm on a 60-minute Zoom, I'm like locked in and my brain's going to keep going, going, going. And I think that's a lot more than, the 1 hour like rate. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. If that's something that anyone's listening where they're thinking, I don't want to offer these services, but can I spin it in another way to still make money from my client? I think that that can be like a good alternative as well.
Yeah. And I love everything you just said. And I feel like me listening to you, I feel like I really we say it every week where it's like I hope it lands in the AirPods of who it needs to. But
Mhm,
I feel like Jessica and I just gave honestly, I feel like we were low key just talking to our younger selves because I wish that's something I would have heard right when starting out my business because especially in the beginning years where it's like you're worried about money, which as entrepreneurs, I don't know, I wish I could tell you all that that goes away, but, like, LOL, I'm how many years in, and I still freak out,
yeah.
but it's one of those things where I do know money's always it's always going to come in, like, again,
Mhm,
that's something like, since telling myself that, I've been listening to money affirmations lately, you
mhm.
guys, I
Love
can
that.
also link that in, um into the email newsletter, but just the whole do you actually want to do that? Because again, in the beginning, I knew I was capable of doing it and I would say it comes back to being the people pleaser and saying yes to everything. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's like, did I actually want to do all those things? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, same here. Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you guys the amount of times that that would be a really good episode where we could um kind of go into like things we said yes to that we definitely should have
ooh.
said no to. Oh my gosh, guys. I could probably pull from some really embarrassing things, especially 2018, 2019 me.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I could definitely do that. I think there's been so many times. And two, I think a lot of that, and I think that's just kind of like my growth with, you know, like money, like Madeline said, I think, and I feel like in some ways I'm very spiritual and very woo. I
Mhm.
know some people will
Mhm.
probably say I am, but I don't think I'm not super, super woo because I think I'm an entrepreneur. I think I'm super practical. So I think in the way that I approach it, like Madeline said, you can always make more money. Money is always coming in. And I think until I really learned what that meant as a business owner, and especially as an entrepreneur, we have such a unique way that we can generate money in so many ways all of the time, essentially. It just think about what energy we spend to do XYZ to bring in that money. Like I know so many people say money is energy, and I really think it is because you get what you put into it. And I know eh, wherever you're at in your entrepreneurial journey, because I know Mal and I are thinking back to when we first started, like our broke selves in business, like you can get to that point. It's not always like a super quick path, but you can definitely like get there. And I think the other thing that I want to share to that as well, and here we are, like we're just getting super like, self love, but that's what we do. Like it's so good. It's going to a good
Yes.
place. But I think the mindset around money for me has been really big. I know I'm not done with that, like, personal growth yet. I don't know if we really ever are,
Mhm.
but having the mindset of like an abundance mindset of money will always come in and will go out. I think too, even now, like old me would say yes to every single client, like this particular opportunity in this water cooler because, oh, I need to bring in that money. Do I really need to bring in that small amount of money for work that I don't even wanna do? Whereas if I say no, maybe just around the corner is like a dream client that I absolutely wanna work with, but, oh, wait, I couldn't work with them because I'm so busy being preoccupied because I thought I needed this money. And I think that just goes with having a more, like, abundance mindset versus, like, a scarcity mindset of it's never going to come. And I think even that's been really hard for me to learn because I think ever since I was in high school, I was working, making money, saving money, and in college as well. And I've definitely have gone through phases where, and again, this was like pre-business where making more money, making less money, making more money, but maybe I'm more happier, maybe I have more freedom, maybe I move somewhere new. Like it's always a trade-off. And I think that's where that comes down to. So just wanted to add that like little like thought behind it as well.
Yes, I love that, and I need to even share the money affirmations with you because I feel like you would love them because yeah, because I didn't share this with you, but, like, I just recently got a small little bonus, like, from,
Oh, I
the
love
boutique.
that. That's
So,
so
like so,
exciting.
like, it's, like, one of those things where,
Yeah.
they always say, like but I agree with you where I don't know if we're ever like, because I think too, like, money trauma and,
Mhm,
I grew up super blessed, but it's still
mhm.
just, just money mindset, and, like, that has been definitely a healing journey for me. So, I will definitely share the money affirmations with you all
Yes.
in the newsletter next week because seriously, like, I and again, Jessica and I believe are in the same spiritual woo journey
Mhm.
together where it's just like I truly I and like low key, I have been praying for a money miracle where I'm like, please, oh my goodness. And like, boom,
Mhm.
look what happened where I was like,
Yep,
okay, okay.
yep.
Where the universe is laughing at me and it's like, can you sit down and calm down?
Yeah.
Like, chill, like literally chill, girl.
Yep.
Like, we got you. Like,
Yeah.
again, you're always provided for. Like, it's all good. It's all good.
I have to share one part too, and I feel like I know we always talk about, Ryan and Brennan and whatnot, and so I know probably at this point Ryan is probably not listening to the podcast because
Right.
he's,
Oh, right.
totally fine, totally fine. Don't need him to anyway. I'm gonna recap later and tell him everything that we talked about. So, but I think one thing that Ryan said to me just a few days ago, and he's been saying it like more and more, but when we've been talking through like financials and different things and decisions and Ryan's my like go-to for business finances, right? We're always kind of like talking about that and just thinking about what the rest of 2024 will look like. We have some big things hopefully that no, they will come to fruition, but
Yes.
yeah. And so I think a big part of that is he lately has been saying, I'm over here, I'm freaking out, I'm like asking all these questions, I'm thinking all these things. He's like, you're just so calm and you're like, "We've got this. You've got this. Like, I've got this." And I'm like, honestly think that just shows how much I've just kind of grown in the sense of being more just kind of like stable in the thought of knowing that money will come. And I think that's one thing that, there's certain times, and especially like 2024 is turning out to be a great business year. There's been a lot of ups, there's been a lot of downs, and I think that's any business, but just learning how to accept those and just be a little honestly, be a little less attached to those downs and those ups because I think sometimes we get so caught up in the moment, whether it's good or bad or ugly or an in between, and we just lose sight of like where we're going. Kind of like to your point, Madeline, where you're like the universe, you know, blessed you with this bonus and you're freaking out and it's like, hold on, I've got this. Just give me a moment. And I think that's just something that we'll kind of continue to work through together. So, okay, I love where this episode has gone.
Yes, same. Okay. Now, okay, we don't have any show you the numbers this week. So let's get into on our feet. And I want Actually, let me start
Okay.
because my like on my feed, you guys, it's not that strong. It's not that strong. Um, we have those weeks, where it's like I actually have been like I feel like this week and this weekend, I was pretty good about like going on TikTok, going on Pinterest, going on Instagram, going on Facebook and Threads. Like, where there's some weeks where it's like I'm mostly on TikTok, mostly on Pinterest. But this week I feel like overall, I was on all the platforms, which is so on all the platforms, the content that I have seen literally on all platforms is watercolor content. So like
Ooh.
people like watercoloring on Pinterest. I'm like getting ideas because again I shared with you guys that that's like my new hobby that I'm exploring. Um so I feel like I might be sharing some like I might this weekend do some more watercolor
Mhm.
painting and I can share that with you guys. But yeah, so like it's been relaxing. Like again, where I don't know about you guys or where we have those this you guys might be like this is so unhinged, Maddie, but like pimple popping like video, like I'm that girl who like I enjoy pimple popping videos, but like this watercoloring is like I feel like my new like pimple popping thing where I'm like I could
Mhm.
just sit there for hours and just like watch people paint.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, I love that. I've been seeing on my TikTok, like, girls going to the beach and, like,
yes,
fill
yes, exactly,
I love that.
exactly. Where it's like filling it with the ocean water and just yeah,
Mhm.
I wish Brennan would go because I wanna do that in the evening where when it's, like, cooler, where it's like I don't like, I could do it in the morning too, but I kinda feel like watching a sunset and
Mhm.
doing that would be fun, so now I just have to convince the hubby to, like, go and do that with me,
Mhm.
where
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. No, I love that. It's 'cause I've seen so many of those, like, all over my For You page, and I'm just like, it just
Mhm.
seems so fun and, like, peaceful and creative, but I like that. That's a
Yes.
good summer hobby, for sure.
But
But
no, I'm excited for yours, like, yours, we're gonna geek out for a hot second.
yes. So I am so excited about what's on my feed. And so on my feed, or on a couple of feeds, is the Vera Bradley rebrand. And I think this is so interesting to hear everyone's take on the Vera Bradley rebrand. I'll say one of my first ever, like, honestly, childhood memories is this little boutique that I would always go to in our downtown. And so I don't actually know if I ever shared this, but I'm from Atlanta, but I lived for like a couple years in elementary school and start of middle school in a really, really small town. And the reason I wanna talk about it is because even now, like, at my age, so many people travel to this super small town because it's in a lot of movies and TV shows. And so if you didn't know, Atlanta is actually, like, a really huge hub for TV and movie production. Especially I don't even know, like, the reasoning behind a lot of that, but there's a lot of production companies that happen in Atlanta. Anyway, I mean, watch any TV show or movie, and it always will probably have, like, a little Georgia peach on it, like, um, so,
True, true.
yeah, yeah, it's either, like I feel like it's either Hollywood, Atlanta, or, like, Canada is honestly what I'm seeing, like, with, people, like, producing, and so, anyway, the small town that I'm from is called Covington, Georgia. It's really small. If you watch Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that
Wait, real that is, like, where
yep,
it's filmed? That's
yes,
wait, you grew up there? You
yep,
lived there? Shut
yes,
your face. What?
yes, okay, so it's, like,
What?
when Vampire Diaries, I have to do a quick research because the
Wait,
only other
what ages were you there?
so, honestly, I was probably 2 to 13 because of when I was
Oh,
13
wow,
is when my
yeah.
family moved to Tampa,
So, like,
so
you literally grew that is where you grew up. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah, yeah, so it's a little square, like a downtown okay, of course, they have a whole page on their, like, city website, like,
Oh,
filmed of course they do. So many different things have been filmed. One thing that I remember is obviously really, really old show, but Dukes of Hazzard was filmed there. Remember the Titans was filmed there.
Whoa, my
One of
gosh.
the most recent ones I know, because I binged it on Netflix, is the Sweet Magnolias series.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
That town of Serenity is actually Covington. Like, it's the
I'm
whole
upset and now I'm upset about that because I felt like that should
it's supposed to be
be filmed
Charleston,
in Shin right. Yes,
right? It's not.
Magnolia yes.
Yes. Yes, but it's actually no. So of course, in the show, it's always like, "The town of Serenity," and I'm like, "No, that's Covington, that's where I'm from." But yes, that's where I grew up, and anyway, how I got there with Vera Bradley being on my feed
Right,
is
right, right.
very vibrant, like, downtown. It's super small, it's 1 square. But, it's a big square in a lot of towns in film and TV, and so there was always a boutique that my friends and I would always walk by, and it was just full of Vera Bradley bags, and the patterns were so, like, so bold, and I feel like that would be a really fun poll or carousel that we could do, like, what was your Vera Bradley pattern as a kid? And I'll have to, like, I need to look at the old ones because I can, like, picture it, but I blend them with, like, so many. Um, so anyway, that is one of my first ever memories, and actually, one of my I love my base travel brand, but my
Yeah.
go-to beyond base is a Vera Bradley duffel, and I literally use it all the time, like, I'm probably gonna bring it on
Well, it's iconic, like, they were
Yeah.
iconic, and wait, okay, I actually love this story, like, I feel like we could sell this to Vera Bradley, not really, but, like, just because, like, your fir like, or, like, can't this would be the campaign we would Jessica. Where it's like your first memory or encounter with Vera Bradley because so Jessica just spoke about, like, growing up and what I'm now just, like, again, like, what like, why did you keep this information from me?
I
But
always tell Madeleine, and she knows I do this, everyone in my life knows I do this, I always, like, lead up to a story that people are like, "What?" And I slowly get there, that's just my
mic drop,
yeah.
mic drop. But, okay, so my Vera Bradley for, like, growing up, Vera Bradley so fun fact, I didn't really like Vera Bradley, like, the pad like, no shade, but, like, that just wasn't my vibe, like, I
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
this
Oh, yeah.
explains me. I was Hello Kitty, like, I was like,
Mhm.
just I was a weird kid, okay? But, so Vera Bradley was started in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and so growing up, that's where, like, my parents are from, and that is where Brennan is from. And
Mhm.
so growing up, like, we would seriously go up to Fort Wayne almost I feel like every weekend, in all honesty, because it's, like, an hour and 45 minutes from, like, where I grew up. So, seriously, like, it's not far. But the
Mhm.
Vera Bradley factory, like, you would always see it and it has her signature on it. And like, people in Fort Wayne, Indiana, like, that is their pride and joy. Like, again, we're not Covington, but, like, they like Vera Bradley is their pride and joy. And so,
Mhm.
like, there's outlets. And funny enough, my uncle, my mom's younger brother, actually works at the factory. And so, like, during Christmas, like, he'll always send us some things. But going back, like, it's so iconic, like, the bag is and, like, I'm pumped for this rebrand too because, like, as much as I said I wasn't a Vera Bradley girl, like, at every sleepover, the girls would bring their Vera Bradley bags, and I
Mhm.
that's why I always laughed, like, where I feel like the relaunch of this all came from TikTok and, like, girls, like, doing, like, when they were teenagers, like, putting the
Mhm.
alcohol in their bags of, like, trying to, like like, because everybody relates to it, like
Mhm. Yes, it's such a good core memory that I love with also a shared experience across
Yeah.
decades. But I love that. I was actually reading too earlier the story, which is so interesting, especially in nowadays. So when they started it, they were awaiting a flight in Atlanta airport, and they noticed every luggage was a
Yep.
boring, boring color. And I think now I'm someone, like, and I know Madeline can relate too, like, we love, like, color and patterns and, like, we love anthropology, like we love free people. Like, and I think a big thing that I've seen from feedback, of course, we're reading the comments, is people are like, wait a minute, because apparently they teased something a little while back before this rebrand announcement, and it gave Love Shack Fancy, which obviously has a very huge cult following for Love Shack Fancy. If you know, you know.
Mhm.
And they're not going that way. I have to say, I like everything that I've seen. I think there's some really cool bags that I'm already like, yes, yes, yes.
All the leather ones, I'm
The
like,
leather, so
add to cart,
yes,
love.
yes.
And,
So
okay, wait, we also need to bring back in Zoe and just,
yeah,
why am I drawing a blank on the show?
new girl, new
New
girl.
Girl. I was about to say Funny Girl, and I was like, that is not it.
But like, yeah, like I could, yeah.
Yes, yes. But, okay, so tell the audience what you think too of them choosing Zoe to basically be the face of the brand. Because
Yeah.
I loved what you said.
Yeah, so I think it's so interesting that because I saw too on the website she's brand ambassador. They're fully going in with her in that title, which I love when brands do that. I feel like not a lot of brands really have
Mhm.
brand ambassadors anymore. I think influencing has kind of changed that. So I love that we're reshifting there. But when I think of Zoe Deschanel, I mean, obviously she is an actress in so many different things. I immediately think of her as New Girl, of course. I mentioned earlier, absolutely love the show. And Jess is the character that she played, so obviously biased, love her too, love the name. She is known for having a really great style in the show, and it's a little eccentric, which I think is Vera
Mhm.
Bradley, leading to Madeleine's
Mhm.
point around
Mhm.
the patterns and colors. And Jess was known to always have interesting bags. And there's actually an episode too, which I think would be so fun to recreate. Vera Bradley, hello, hello, where Cece and Jess are like in a fight and they're throwing like bags out the window and they're like going out and there's like a homeless character who is reoccurring and he collects all the bags and like that's probably not super on brand, but it's very like Zoe Deschanel. And I think it plays into like New Girl is a show that is like so accepting of all of the characters and their different backgrounds. And I mean, they come together, they all live in this loft and all of that. But I think it just makes sense of how it is connected with
Mhm.
Zoe and her character of Jess from New Girl. It just makes sense to have her be a ambassador.
Like, if you were to, like, and I completely agree, because now that I've seen it, like, I can't unsee it, like, where I'm just like, there's nobody else. Like, there's no better brand ambassador, but, like, I feel like, let's say if you were to ask me a few months ago before the rebrand, I feel like I don't know if I would have, again, thought of anybody else really. Like, and
Yeah.
granted, we didn't know the direction it was going in. Like, so, like, that's what I'm saying too, where it's like, since I didn't have all the information, like, I couldn't have told you, like, oh, this would be, which
Mhm.
I always like to, I feel like, Jessica, that could be a fun game we invent, though, where it's just like, let's name a brand.
Mhm.
You get to, maybe this is a game show. Oh my gosh, wait,
Whoa.
quick. Okay, also side note, we never discussed. Okay, sorry you guys. Sorry to take a quick little turn, but like this relates. I promise. We are like we've got the board. So I did watch The Circle.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I
Yeah.
watched The Circle. Convinced. Yes, I could win the show. Yes. I also think that our strategy would be that we need to pitch this to the producers though, where I would go in and, like, I would 100% would have played myself, or, like, would I will, like, I when I
Mhm.
am on the show, I will play myself, and but I think it could be a good plot twist where it's, like, then you come in where it's, like, "Dun, da, da, da," and it's, like, the players don't know that I know you and that we're business besties, partners, and,
Ooh.
like, where it's, like, playing
Mhm.
them strategically.
Yep.
So
Yes.
but where but bringing it back to, okay, the game show idea though, like, that would be fun to be like, "Okay, you get to rebrand this brand. We're not giving you" like, the brief is, like, seriously, like, you could go anywhere with it, but you have to, like, pick the brand ambassador and, like, make sure the brand ambassador actually goes along with the
Mhm.
rebranding.
Yeah. Ooh,
Mm,
I like that. I like that. You know what's interesting? Because I'm reading their website, and so they're speaking to the 35 to 55 demographic. And
okay.
I think that's so funny because when I remember, like, being a kid, I was obviously really young, but I'm clearly a millennial. But when I was young, it was the phenomenon of when I was a little girl,
Mhm,
because my first ever Vera Bradley was like a really small purse, like a shoulder bag, and then we, like, go to high school, maybe middle school, high school, whenever we would get it, even into college because we never let it go, our, like, duffel weekender bag,
mhm, yeah.
like, Vera Bradley is generational, and I think it's so interesting that Vera Bradley is not taking that approach in their marketing, because when I think about it,
Ooh.
like, I would do a multi-generational marketing campaign where I would market to the younger girls, like Gen Alpha, like, doing bags that, again, bringing it back to those bags. The
Sleep
styles
over.
might need to
Mhm,
change, that I don't think
mhm.
the old prints would work for Gen Alpha. They would absolutely hate it, I
Destro
think.
they
But
would destroy it. They'd be like, "No."
they would. I mean, first of all, put a little thing on the strap for their little Summer Fridays lip balm, like, done.
Chills. That yep,
Okay.
mhm.
I mean, from that point, then you go into high school, college age, Gen Z to millennials. I mean, think about our favorite brands at the moment. They're base, away.
Mhm. Way, yep.
They're, like, I see so many, like, Dagny Dover, like, it's all over my TikTok of, like, my work bag and, like, all the different bags, but the travel to the work bag, like, that can be Vera Bradley. I think it's so I think what I've seen, I love everything that they've created. I think their rebrand is really trying to go, like, pigeonhole them into something, because when
Mm,
I read the comments on Instagram and Facebook, they are just absolutely, like, mad at that their Vera Bradley that they know and love is gone. And I
ugh,
think the other thing for Vera Bradley for me, and I because now, like, there's an outlet mall in Tampa that we love to go to, and honestly, myself, my sister, and my mother-in-law love to shop at this Vera Bradley outlet because, 1, I love an outlet deal, like,
mhm,
yes.
mhm.
They have so many different things, everything is, they make everything from bags to travel to accessories, and so, honestly, all of us, all 3 of us, always buy something when we go in. It's probably not the same thing, it's definitely not the same pattern, same print, same color, but we're always buying something. So I feel like it's really missing that multi-generational approach, to be honest.
Yes, because I'm also on the website too, and, like, I'm looking where it's, like, one of their because I think this honestly, like, again, clearly Jessica and I have great, like, Vera, if you wanna, like, hit us up, like, again, I think I applaud you all. Like, I think, again, even like, if we really want to get into the branding where it's like the new logo, like like the logo, like the typography, I'm like, chef kiss. I love it. Like, it didn't change drastically, but it changed just enough. And I'm like, love it.
Yep.
Yummy. I'm gonna call it yummy because to me it's yummy. And then like with the branding colors, like again, where I don't know if I could even tell you, like, did the OG Vera, like, have kind of like the Tiffany, like, did they have a color? I don't know, but I'm kind of liking this green, like, I think it's pretty, like, I like it, it doesn't take I think too, when you have the patterns that Vera Bradley has, like, you need to make sure you choose these colors that work with the patterns that you're going to
Mhm.
be like,
Yep.
like kind of universal.
Agreed.
And but like on why I applaud again the website marketing where I like that they have it the tab even says like the originals, like
Mhm.
the Vera Bradley originals. And so there you can see the duffel bag, like the large original duffel bag. And I just like the price point too, like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like, you can't like and again, granted, like, it because it's a material. It's, it's fabric, where it's not like obviously even the leather bags, so where I'm like, that's like not bad price, like for the
Yeah.
quality. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like people, like I know friends who still have their original, like
Mhm.
which would now be considered vintage, which
Yeah.
again I think plays on to like your approach of like doing it across the generations. Like that could be such a cute little Hallmark. Again, ooh, a partnership with Hallmark, that would be boom. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is so on brand. But
Yes.
now I honestly, like, I'm looking at this. I never had an original duffel, but you guys, maybe this is what I'm treating myself to, because I kind of what Jessica said, where it really is, granted, I don't commute, like I do commute like Mondays and Tuesdays,
Mhm.
um to the boutique, but like the gym bag, like seriously, like
Yeah.
where, okay, here's another thing, like why aren't they marketing it as a gym bag, where I'm like, that's another
Mhm.
thing. Granted, does it have everything a gym bag? I mean, because I feel like so many people, sometimes I feel like the gym bag, I don't, how do I want to say this, where there's those, I think Bays has
Mhm.
one, like where it's like you put the gym shoes underneath the bag, but I don't know about you guys, but I never can figure it out. I'm like, how, like I that's I know that the shoes
Mhm.
are supposed to go there, but like the bag is never like lays the way I want it to. Does
Right.
that make
Yeah.
sense? Like
No,
in
it
my
does, 'cause I don't put my shoes in there by any means because I'm like, "What am I doing wrong?"
Right. Okay. So anyway, so my point being, this duffel bag, honestly, like I would market it as like we don't need to overcomplicate that, like where it's like it is seriously the perfect size. Like I'm sorry, I feel like every company since Vera Bradley has been trying to recreate their OG duffel bag. Like you cannot convince
Mhm.
me otherwise. But like
Yeah.
it is just like that is Vera Bradley's claim to fame.
Yes, yes. Ooh, okay. You know what I just thought of? Campaign, free idea for Vera Bradley, but
Mhm. Mhm.
all Madeline and I to execute. Um, you know how Béis got so much flack from the dirty suitcases?
Yes. Mhm.
They did the
Mhm.
Béis wash, all of that. Vera Bradley needs some sort of similar campaign. I haven't fully fleshed this out in my head yet. Bring in your really old, like Vera, like duffel or bag or anything like that to swap for something new. Because I think too, when I think about it, I think
Yeah.
it shows where people have held on to them for so, so long, and it's one of those programs that could, like, reignite the whole thing, or the other approach could be, which do you remember when who did this? I wanna say, I hope I'm not getting it wrong, but I wanna say, you know the brand Corksicle?
Yes, love,
I think
love.
Corksicle did this, or I hope if I'm getting it wrong, I'll correct myself, but, um, I wanna say whenever the Stanley craze was happening, Corksicle, or if I'm getting it wrong with another one, I apologize. They said, "Bring in your Stanleys." They will recycle the Stanley, and they will give you a Corksicle, or again, if another brand, then that brand. And that could very well be a Vera Bradley thing because I think the one thing,
Mhm.
the quality is there. So say you have, so for example, and again, I'm not coming for them, but I just saw they have a whole section, a collection of belt bags that are nylon, that are quilted, and as we all know, Lululemon has their belt bags. That could be a good way to get Gen Z to swap over and become more loyal to Vera Bradley.
Yes. And that's funny. Ooh, I kind of love a friendly competition like that. Like, ooh,
Mhm.
I kind of like that could be a fun little like, because I know too that Lululemon did it with their like the Lululemon dupes from Amazon. And this is what upset me. I feel like I obviously I love Lululemon. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got a little salty when I think this was maybe last year, but they were like, bring in your dupes of your Lululemon. I think it was a line. Like I think
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
the one
Yeah.
more specifically. And they're like, we'll give you an Align. Pear. Well, they only did this in, like, California. As, like, I mean, I get it. I get this is gonna be a good segue to into today's topic with, like, location. Like, I
Mhm.
get it, but I'm just like, what about me though? Like, why can't we do this at every location? But I think they know because it's like, again, so many people have bought the
Mhm.
dupes. Like, honestly, like, you can't
Yep,
do it everywhere. But
correct.
I love that. I love that, and I feel like you were right that it was Corksicle, but we can, like, do a little more research for you guys, but, like, yeah, I love that, and
Yeah,
also, like, Corksicle, like, is a good like, obviously, I have Stanley's, we talk about Stanley on the podcast, but, like, I'm also like, I feel like I've expressed, like, I am a my millennial trait is, like, I have so many water bottles.
yeah,
So many water bottles
yeah,
because they're my comfort. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, I do love my Corksicle one too, because obviously I have to have one of those as well. Like,
right.
obviously.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm interested to see what else will roll out for the Vera Bradley kind of craze. I think that that could be a really fun thing, and I think it's yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with, like, Zoe Deschanel being brand ambassador, like, what that means for the brand and kind of what can come, and I know what they've launched now is their fall collection, so I'm
Okay.
eager to see more collections from them.
S- So, okay, let's end on that note with what would you rate this rebrand on let's do like school wise, let's do from like A to F, like instead of like
Ooh.
1 to 10, like an A plus, B
Mhm.
A minus, B plus, B minus, blah blah blah, so and so forth.
Okay, I'm gonna rate it a B minus, and here's why. I
Mhm.
think it deserves that B
Mhm.
for, like Madeline said, the logo, the colors, Zoe as brand
Mhm.
ambassador. I think they hit the mark so good on all of those things. I'm gonna give it the minus though, and I'm not gonna quite give it an A because I think they've missed the mark with launching with this fall collection.
Mhm.
I think it's gorgeous. I don't think it's worthy of being the first collection to relaunch with the rebrand. I think you could have done so much better. Um, and I really think that they are, and especially with, because again, we think of fall, we think of the color palettes, we think of all of that. I think that's where, honestly, I think people are scared with what's to come with the rebrand. Just by reading through comments, they're very like, where is, the quilted patterns that I've grown to know and love? They're scared that those may never come back. And they might. I could very well see them coming, but I honestly think they would have been more successful with a spring launch. They could have brought way more fun.
Ooh.
You think spring break, travel, they could have brought the duffel and different versions for that. Spring leads into the time, which I'm having FOMO because I'm not there, but everyone I see is starting their summer European vacations. And I think that would have been a great place to launch, giving all of these influencers who are traveling here and there, packing their suitcases, but they've got their duffels for their carry-ons. Like, I think that would have just been way more seamless of a great, of a rebrand. So that's my rating. Madeline, what are your
I
thoughts?
I think I'm also okay. I think I'm gonna give it. It's between yes. Okay. I feel like I need to commit. I'm gonna give it a B. Hang on, hang on. I'm looking at something else. Okay, I am going to give it a B minus as well. And for all the reasons Jessica said too, I also want to kind of highlight a few other things we didn't mention. They don't get the B plus from me because on their Instagram, I was hoping for some more hype. Like, I was hoping for, like,
Mhm.
you like, I think I saw on TikTok, like, that yes, it was you sent it to me too. Like, you were the one who informed I think they did a beautiful job on TikTok where it was like they took everybody's comments and they're like, "We heard you." That
Mhm.
wasn't on Instagram. Instagram's lot like it's giving meh. Like, I just would have loved more teasers, and honestly, like, okay, here's another thing. I feel like so they, like, their first, so they cleared their Instagram feed, as I honestly, I would suggest, like, when you do a rebrand, like, I did that with the Buzzing Blonde, obviously, like, taking away all the yellow and navy, like, so you're starting fresh, but, like, their first couple of posts, like, obviously, I their first post where it's like they took, a look back, where it's like they did this whole, like, blast from the past, like, again, their story, because their story, here's the other thing, their original story is so strong, like, seriously, like Jessica said, where it was like they saw that all these luggage were boring, and I think it's even more powerful, and ooh, maybe this too, again, another free idea for them, where I forget the year, if you wanna look that up for me, but, like, the year that they were launched, again, where it's like, I feel like women, where they were just coming to the corporate world, like, women, like, this was, like, when women were starting to, like, travel more too, like, by themselves even, like, where it's, like, super empowering. So, I don't know, I'm hoping maybe too they're gonna, again, granted, back in the day where it's like, how clearly they have pictures from their original, like, from day one, how much, like, video footage do they have? I don't know, but I would love to see those video archives and, like, tie it into, like, I think for me, the Instagram, I just wish there was more video. Like, I get that we have, TikTok, but, like, yeah, I think I'm kind of upset with, like, they don't have many reels right now. And
Mhm.
then something else that, because just was looking at the website, I'm going to applaud them for diversity, because that's another thing. Like, I think in the beginning it was a very white dominant brand, and so I'm looking, like, obviously with Zoe, but, like, again, you can see, like, their first three posts, they have a black woman, and then also I'm looking at their website, and again, I'm seeing diversity there, and I'm even seeing, like, racial. So I'm like, yes, love, love, love that. Like the representation. I'm also on their blog post though, where I'm like,
Mhm. Yeah.
what are these blogs?
Yeah, I did look through those because
I'm like,
I got there from their Pinterest, which I was really disappointed in as well.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So overall, Vera, we B minus isn't bad from
Mhm.
us, I don't think. And, like,
No.
again, I'm going to be like, I feel like we need to do like like, come fall. I will make a note for us that we need to do, like, again, like we always say, the Shark Tank, where are they now? We need
Yeah.
to do this with Vera. I feel like
Yep.
that should be a thing where it's like we can do that for a fall, like, on our feed, like,
Yep.
and we're
Right.
following up on the Vera Bradley.
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah.
again, where it's like, since this is a fall, like, obviously you launch fall things in the summertime. So, like, again, I'm hoping that their fall content is like a hug. Like, I'm hoping
Mhm.
it's very nostalgic and takes me back to my
Yeah.
childhood sleepovers.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
feeling I want. That's
Yes. Yes, that's so good, so good. So, okay, I love that.
okay.
We will definitely do a "Where Are They Now?" That's such a good idea. In a couple of weeks, once we get deeper into fall, and we can kind of see where they're at with the new collection and just with the rebrand in general, because I feel like
Yeah.
it's interesting to see directions, because I know that might change, it might pivot, or they might have more things up their sleeves. So, I think we have to do a recap for sure. Should we dive into all things sticky marketing and
Yes.
kind of go from there?
Yes, yes. I'm gonna have you kick it off, and, like, where the sticky, like, what is sticky?
Mm.
Because some of you guys listening might be like, "What are you talking about? What is sticky marketing? Is it the Mike's Hot Honey? Like,
I
where are we
just thought
going
that
with
I
this?"
was like, "Wait a minute, I did good. I didn't even, like, think about that." But yes. Is it a play on the buzzing blonde bee, honey? I mean, everything's
Yep.
intertwined here. So when I think of I use the term sticky marketing a lot, and I think Harmony even mentioned she, like, pulled this in and she, like, heard me
Mhm.
say it, and I know I say it, like, all the time. when I think of sticky marketing, it is always my way to connect with clients and just kind of educate them around what works in a content strategy. And again, branding. It plays a very big role in both for me. When I think of what makes things sticky, how do they stick? And what sticks with someone is always the way that I like to share it. And so when you think about impactful brands, when you think about the innovator brand in a market, or which we'll get to in just a second, explain that a little further, but when you think of a creator, one thing that we were talking about at our planning meeting as 3 social media managers would be is we talked about Alex Earl, and we were talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
Alex Earl's sticky marketing, and it's her get ready with me's, it's her consistency, it's how she's constantly doing her makeup and getting ready to go out, whether she was back at U Miami, whether she's now, I know she's in the Hamptons, and it's something that sticks. And now when creators are on TikTok creating get ready with me's, and I know because I think the same thing when I'm filming my get ready with me, I'm Alex Earl. I'm gonna make a get ready with me. Whether you've seen her, you like her, you love her content, what have you, it's impactful. And that's sticky marketing. That's the best way that I can describe it. And so Madeline curated a beautiful list of different things that are sticky. Because when, again, I think a good way to relate to it is what makes people think of you. And I think if you're thinking about yourself as a social media manager and your business's brand, but even your client's brand, I like to think about what is going to stick to their audience. Sometimes you can really pinpoint it. Sometimes you just honestly have to put content out there and listen, right? I think Vera
Mhm.
Bradley can listen to their audience in this moment of the rebrand because they will know what has stuck over the years.
Facts. Okay, yeah. So, like Jessica said, I have a few examples of this, and we're again kind of taking a journey from the past. Some of these I had let me start with the story of like what also I took the initiative today. I was like, this is what we're doing because I recently went on a bachelorette party for my college roommate. Shout out to Abby. She is a I know she listens, so I love you. I also say I'm the honorary triplet because she is an identical twin. I am the triplet. But so the bachelorette party was in now I'm gonna forget. It was in Michigan, but I'm drawing a blank at where I was in Michigan. But her group of bridesmaids were all from the Midwest, one being from Wisconsin. And I cannot recall like the conversation per se, but we must have been walking past a water fountain or something. She's like, like go fill it up in on from the bubbler. And I'm like, what? What? And Abby's like, "The water fountain." I'm like, "Oh." And then, like, again, we went into, like, where that's a Wisconsin thing, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I made a mental note." I was like, "I need to ask Harmony this." So, I get back the first meeting with Harmony, and this was when Jess was still out, and I was like, "Harmony, what do you call like, where do you fill up your water bottle?" And she's like, "The bubbler." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "How?" Like, this is what because again, it was one that was I was 30 years old when I heard this, and that's when she explained to me that the bubbler, it must have like was a brand like in Wisconsin, like who create like they made water fountains, but again, I could stand corrected. They made the bubblers. And so that just kind of stuck. And so that then led me to us talking about other brands that again sticky marketing where for instance what do you like the brand that you associate tissue with?
Mhm.
Kleenex. Like I
Yeah,
like personally like I'm not like I think that is and it's you don't some of them you don't think about. Like obviously I call water fountain the water fountain, but clean like honestly I think in general I'm probably like, "Oh, hand me the Kleenex." I'm never like, "Hand me the
r
tissue paper." Like
right.
like
Yeah, have I
what?
ever said the word tissue before? Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I feel like when we were talking about this too, like originally, because I feel like we talk about sticky marketing a lot, where it's like is that a good thing for Kleenex or is that a bad thing for Kleenex? You know, like, where it's like if they're not buying Kleenex, the brand, but
Mhm.
to me, I kinda think it is because I think I would rather stick where I think I'm thinking about my own, and I laugh because so many people where it's like, I'm the buzzing blonde. Even though my colors aren't like people will forever associate bees
Mhm.
with me, and I'm okay
Mhm.
like, not even in my logo, again, I should but, like, I've always kind of incorporated I've done a poor job lately, but, like, incorporating, like, you'll see honeycomb patterns, like, I try and
Mhm.
do that. But okay, so back to my list. So Kleenex, um, this was one I just came across today, and we all like Harmony was the one who was like, "Oh," but it was hoovering, and it's for the vacuum, and then Harmony was saying she's like, "Oh, I have heard that, but, like, can't remember, like, where." And that kinda leads us into also, like, location. But wait, before we get into that, though, I wanna just say a few other ones. So, chapstick,
Mhm.
popsicle, where it's like, again, that one I was like, "Oh, yeah, like, popsicle is a brand." And
Yeah.
then this was one that, Harmony mentioned where when you order an Uber, like, you're Ubering somewhere only, but you
Mhm.
might be taking a Lyft, but you're still saying, "Oh, I'm Ubering to you." And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so
Yeah.
because again, I know for a fact Uber came out before Lyft, but Lyft was not far behind. But,
Right.
to me, I'm like, it's like who gets to the market first, you know? And same with Google, and I actually know that because people will be like, "Oh, just go Google that," where it's like, I think it's funny that things like Bing are still a thing, but I also know that Google has recently got in, I think, some trouble because I forget I'd have to find the article, but it's like it's not that it's a monopoly, but, like, kind
Mhm.
of is giving
On its
those
way.
vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know why it is. I think it was because it might have been with some like, I not maybe it was for a while, like, when you would get an Apple phone, like, Google was set up to be, like, the search engine or something like that, where
Oh,
it was, like, automatically there, and it was, like, it wasn't fair to the other
mhm.
pla but here's something interesting. Okay, you tell me, Jess. When I'm using my phone, I use Safari.
Mhm. I do too. I do
But
too.
when I
I just
but I
I open it and I just type it in. Yep.
but when I'm on my computer, I use Google, like, I use
Google.
Chrome.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
that's true.
interesting.
Yeah, no, that's true, and even, like and you know how your phone will if you have, like, Google Chrome or have ever had it, it's like every time you open Safari or an app wants to go to Safari, it's like, "Do you wanna go to Google Chrome?" I'm like, "No." I do the same
No.
thing on my computer, though. I'm like, "Wait, don't take me to Safari at all.
Mhm.
Like, keep me in Chrome."
Well, because also, like, I think maybe this is again relates where it's like, I think when you get your phone like, Safari's already downloaded. Like, that app is
Mhm.
downloaded where it's like, again, where if it's saying like, "Oh, do you wanna continue Safari or go to Google Chrome?" Like, I don't have the Google Chrome app. Like, I'm like, "No,
Mhm.
just keep me here. I don't wanna then
Yeah,
download" it's just too many more steps where I'm like, "No, just
yeah,
keep me here."
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Um
that's good, yeah, yeah. What do you think kind of on the point where, like Kleenex's perspective, right? Like they are the brand, they're probably first to market, they probably have the most market share, but if you're going to a store, you might just pick up any box of tissues
Mhm,
that you find. It could be because of price, maybe there's a value
mhm.
pack. I know for me, I'm super picky. I will always pick ones with like lotion or Vicks inside of it. I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm like, wait,
which
I just kind of want the like nicer ones.
which is funny because I think that's Puffs, and I actually, like,
Oh.
if I were to actually pay attention, like, to here's another because like, brand loyalty, like, I definitely tell me if you agree or disagree. Because we keep talking about a generation thing, and I think that's actually a perfect segue to continue what we were wanting to talk about today. But, like, do you have brand loyalty with things like because I actually low key actually now that we're thinking about it, I think I do oftentimes buy Puffs more than
Mhm.
I do Kleenex. But again, where now I'm gonna be paying attention. Now when I go to Target, I'll report back. let you guys know with even with toilet paper, but toilet paper in my life right now, I feel like it's all a price thing where I'm like, why is toilet paper so expensive?
Yes, agreed. And I will say I will get and I think you're right about puffs because I always go for the one with Vicks because I feel like if I'm using a
Mhm.
tissue, I'm probably sick or my allergies are killing me, and Vicks is just always the end all cure
Also,
all.
Vicks, literally, did you grow
Yep,
up with Vic like, my parents, like, that was like, you put the Vicks under
yep.
your nose, like,
That's how
and
I,
I
like, heal my
y
body is with Vicks.
no, yes, thank you. Brennan didn't really grow up, but now like, with Vicks, like, I'm telling you, like, that was how we cured our colds, our
Yep,
coughs, like, Vicks
yep,
is the end all be all, like you just said,
yep.
and now it's just funny because, like, Brennan will, like, when he's starting to get a cold, like, he goes for the Vicks, and I'm like,
Mhm. Yep, now you get it.
"Exactly,
Yep. Yeah,
exactly."
yeah. I will say though, okay, about I think self-care things, health things, like Vicks, health medicine, things
Mhm,
like that,
mhm.
um, makeup, things like that, I'm very brand loyal. When it comes to food, I'm not super brand loyal, and I think because I feel like in college and after college, I did all my shopping at Trader Joe's, so
Mm,
all the brands are just out the window.
mhm.
Um, so I think that plays, like, a really big role into it, but I do think there are, like, certain instances, like soda, I'm always gonna go to
So you mean
Coca-Cola.
pop? No, I'm just kidding.
Right, right, right. But I think and Madeline even asked me earlier, like, when I think of soda, sometimes and this drives Ryan crazy because sometimes I might need a little caffeine kick, and I'm always like, "Can you get me a Coke?" But in my head, I'm probably asking for a Dr. Pepper or something along the sorts, like a Diet
Mm.
Pepper, Diet Coke, something, but in my head, I just say Coke, like, "Can you get me a Coke?"
Instead of pop or soda, where it's like
Right.
that is like your word. Because again, Atlanta, where it's like Coke, what that's where Coke started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and too, like, Coke and Dr. Pepper, I'm from Atlanta, we do not talk about Pepsi, I'm sorry. Um, to me, it's either Coke or Dr. Pepper, and Dr.
Mhm.
Pepper is obviously not Coke, I don't even think it's owned by Coca-Cola. So,
Uh-uh.
I
Uh-uh.
just automatically assume it's the same exact thing, because in my head, I'm just going off of that particular brand. Um, and again, brands stick. Like again, you think of Coca-Cola, you think of all of the marketing and branding and advertising that they do. And they spend tons and tons of money. But I think when it comes to I think you can really I like to think about it in the sense of sticky marketing as well, with you can do it organically. And it can
Mhm.
be so easily done. I like to think about things with um, you think about like for soda, right? Like around 3 p.m., you're probably crashing. If you're marketing for a soda brand or for anything that's got caffeine or like an energy boost or anything like that, that can correlate that product and that action of consuming that product in that time frame. Like, because it's already in
Mhm.
people's heads of I'm crashing, I need this, I have this problem, I need this solution. Your product that you're marketing can stick to people. For example, I know people say Poppy and Olipop soda alternatives, so at 3 p.m., reach for an Olipop, reach for a Poppy, what have you. So I think sticky marketing, it can be done in so many different ways, which I think is a really fun way to like look at it.
Yes. Okay, and then something else I want to add before we kind of wrap up this episode, because I know we were talking about it too, and I think this does relate to sticky marketing and just marketing in general, but we were talking about too like language and like age and location when it comes to right, am I like going about this?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
some of the examples we were talking about on our planning meeting was how obviously if I were working with a brand, and I do work with a brand down here in the South, where it's like I would never in my caption say this wicked cool product. We all like that is Boston, that is like upper East Coast. That is not
Mhm.
southern East Coast. And but like obviously like, with y'all, like like when you're thinking about your captions, just like even that you have to consider um I know, like, literally, I'm looking at my notes, and I
Yeah.
just wrote age and location. Obviously, I'm
Mhm.
trying to recall, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, but no, that makes sense. Like, does it relate? Can it stick with people? You wouldn't be in New York City for a brand or
almost like
something,
think
and
about
then, like, yeah, you wouldn't use like a Southern slang
like,
term.
thinking about, like, your like, again, where it's, like, like, your slogans, like, it'd be like, trying to think. Running on Duncan, like, I mean, I feel
Mhm.
like I do associate that because it's, like, with the Boston Marathon. I don't again, I was not in that room when they were coming up with their slogan.
Right.
I'd be curious to know, actually, like, that is a room, like, I would
Mhm.
have loved to been a fly on the wall with have I think I've said this before. I'm gonna repeat because it's a big flex in my life, I personally think. If I have not said it, maybe this is, like, one of Jessica's lead up stories and it's like a mic drop and I'm like, "Ha, I got you."
Right.
But one of my professors in college, he was the one who came up with "Maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline."
Ooh, I love that. That's so
And,
cool.
like like, he was such a cool professor, like, everybody was like, "Don't take his class, he's so, like, scary, blah, blah, blah." No, we vibed. He loved me, I loved him, like, I was like, "You
Mhm.
don't scare me, you're just cool, I wanna be you." His daughter wrote "Bring It On," and I'm like, Can I
Oh
just be
my
your
god.
adopted daughter? Like,
Yeah,
you're
right?
cool.
Right.
Like, I wanna be you."
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. But yeah. But no, I think it goes down to, like, slogans too, like, anything can stick, and it's yeah,
Yeah.
being able to sometimes it's even like, it's just honestly, I think it's I hope I'm articulating this in the best way, but sometimes it's simple. Like, simple in the fact of think about your audience and their age, their generation, their upbringing, what they
Mhm.
do, what they love. Think about the location. That plays a really big role into it, and then that's how you can really kind of, like, piece all of the things together to figure out how to make something sticky for one of your clients or your brand or a
Even yep.
campaign. Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good way to end it though, where it's like it's
Mhm.
something to ponder today slash this week when you're listening to our beautiful voices is and let us know too, like what is your sticky marketing? And if you don't have sticky marketing yet, again, just something to think about. Like I know
Mhm.
I personally, I'm gonna be thinking about that too, where I think with our series even, like, that's my hope is that our series, become sticky marketing too, where it's like I feel like with because that's the other thing, right? You're always thinking about like, you don't wanna copy, like, you're trying to cut like, you are original, but, like,
Mhm.
sometimes you like, I know this has been a common theme on the podcast where it's just like the line between copying and, like, replicate, where it's just like, podcast, so where it's just like
Mhm.
I know we're not the only podcast who like co-hosts who like start an episode with probably their weekend recaps or our
Yeah.
new reports. But
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
again, us trying to do the reports though, like I know with our strategy where it's like that our hope is that you look forward to the report, that you get excited to not just only listen to it, because we obviously give more, but also like on socials where it's like, oh, like seen it there, seen it in the newsletter, so
Mhm.
on and like that you want to give your report to your audience, who knows? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. Great way to close. I think that's so
Yes.
good. Yeah. Okay, madam, do you wanna close us out for the week?
Yes, because you know what? I also so obviously I want you guys to subscribe to the newsletter, but I was creeping on our Apple reviews today because I don't like Spotify, if you're listening, I am so confused on how I can look at the like if people can write things or is it really just a star rating? Anyways, I digress. Um but I would like a review would mean the world to us. Like again, I was looking at the Apple reviews and like the last ones were written in 2023. So I would love to see a few more written from 2024, especially with my name in it, where it's like, oh my gosh, Madeline is the best co-host. Like,
Mhm.
thank you. But
Yeah.
that is your homework for this week. Like if you guys would be the best and leave us a review, that would be amazing. Seriously, you could just I know I said, like, write us something, but I get it because I'm actually the worst at writing, like, Google reviews, but yeah, if you just wanna click the 5 star, like, that'd be cool too.
Mhm.
And then, obviously, if you're not subscribed to the social club, you can do that via the link in our bio on Instagram. Also, in the show notes, I know Harmony includes them there. And we will see you all, I guess, talk to you all next week. And we hope you have a good rest of your week.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you haven't already, hit that follow button, and if you really love us, be sure to subscribe wherever you are listening from.
And if you want to be one of our online besties, you can shoot us a DM over at #managed on Instagram and let us know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode. Or, you could also share all your deepest, darkest secrets. Kidding, but we mean it when we say you can shoot us a DM. We love building real, authentic relationships with you.